Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tera Bridges. I'm a Troop Experience Manager with Girl Scouts Carolinas Peaks to Piedmont Council. And today I have some volunteers with me, and I'm going to let them share with you some tips and tricks on parent involvement, how to get parents involved, benefits of it, or maybe what to do with a parent that is a little too involved, maybe how to give them some constructive work to do to also help the troop. And we'll talk about, how it makes a better experience for not only the troop, but the girls as well. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. Beth, do you want to start us out?
Sure. My name is Beth Truman. I am a scout leader now for 4 years. I've been a registered scout for 6 years, and I also was a scout as a young child. Lisa, you want to go?
Okay. I'm Lisa File, and I've been a Girl Scout leader for 14 years now. My troop, the first 4 of them are getting ready to graduate next year, so it'll be a little bumpy road, a little sad road, but I was also a Girl Scout leader. A Girl Scout when I was younger. Did not have a good experience with it, so I was bound to determine my troop was going to be a great experience, and my girls are wonderful. So that's me.
Yay.
Jenny?
My name is Jenny Griffin. I am working on my 4th year as a troop leader here in Rutherford County. I have a troop of about 19 girls, all the way from daisies to now high schoolers. So we have a nice wide variety of ages. I was never a Girl Scout myself. It was not something that I had the opportunity to do, but it something that I did, and I wanted my girls to have an experience where they would be very well rounded and get to experience lots of things. So we started Girl Scouts and we fell in love with it. I started volunteering, and then last year I purchased my lifetime membership. So we're committed. We're here for the long haul.
All right, and before we get started with a couple of experiences and tips and tricks, I want to let everyone know that is watching, if you are a parent or if you're a troop leader and you have some advice to give to others about how to get involved and how to make a better environment and experience for the girls, or if you have questions about what you can do with specific situations, put those in the comments below, and we will try to answer them during this live if we can. All right. So I want to ask you ladies, do you have a parent meeting during your troop year? And if you do, when do you do a parent meeting? How successful is it? And how many times do you have a parent meeting throughout the year?
We always have a parent meeting just before our we start full-fledged into the Girl Scout meetings. I normally don't do scouting through the summer unless there's special events going on. So I do a meeting at the beginning where I have everyone do their health forms, their agreement for photos, and there's other miscellaneous forms that we have in there. I can't think off the top of my head. But we also have another parent meeting for candy and nut season and cookie season as well.
I do the same. Have always done that. And then if we have anything special coming up through the year, like a trip, we always do input. But now that my girls are older, and most of them drive to their meetings themselves, which is a new thing. Mainly they just take the forms home and the parents fill them out and bring them back. But I always keep up we have a Facebook page that I keep updated with, and I also email out everything, like a newsletter type thing, to keep the parents involved.
That's pretty much what I do as well. Always before we start in October, the last week of September, I always do a parent meeting. It's especially good for new Girl Scout parents It gives them plenty of time to ask all those questions, kind of get their feet wet. We're always do a little activity so they can kind of see what's going to happen at meetings for the year, and they get to know me a little bit better because they're leaving their child with me who they don't know. So they can ask all of those questions of me and other parents. We do one at fall product. We do one at cookie training. And then I also have a secret Facebook page for my girls. And I communicate with my parents through there as well. We do things like polls, and then I'm able to share information from the council page to that page.
So Lisa, I want to ask you a question real quick. Is it easier to get your parents of younger girls involved, or is it easier to get the older girl parents involved now since you've been a troop leader for so long?
Well, I'm a little bit different than Beth and Jenny, and different than the way I feel Girl Scouts has really gone to in the past years. My girls have all been with me since kindergarten and first grade. So as they've grown and aged up, I've gone with them. So almost all the girls, except the few that I've inherited along the way, most of the whole troop has been together since kindergarten and first grade. And I've added probably 5 along the way, and a few have moved away. But we've been a family from the get-go, so it's kind of a different situation.
That's an awesome situation to have girls stick with it that long, because it doesn't happen as often these days. So getting your parents involved, communication is a very key ingredient to making a successful troop year. But do you get your parents even more involved? Like, do you give them specific tasks or roles during troop meetings, or even like during cookie season? Do any of you do anything like assign them snack duties or anything?
Go ahead, Lisa, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I have a couple parents that sign up to help the most during cookie season. I'm one of the lucky leaders that have a lot of parent support that are leaders as well. So I can run multiple booths at a time. I can have a leader run and get cookies for me when I can't make it. But I always ask for the parents' help in anything we do.
I'm pretty much the same on that end. I have a really great parent support, but I think because of that communication that we keep an open line, they know what the needs are, and that usually helps a lot for me when people see a need graph. They're like, oh, let me help you do this, or let me help you do that. I have one parent who will go and pick up children and shuttle them back and forth for me. And that's always a big help to me as well. If there's something that we end up needing, she'll make a Dollar General run for me, come back. And it's vital to have at least one person like that you can depend on, that's not always committed to something in-house. It's really nice to have that.
Right. So how do you make the ask to parents? How do you get them to commit to helping, even if it is during a meeting with a badge activity? How do you ask them to help you?
Usually they just volunteer. And way back when we first started, but that's been, like I said, 14 years ago, I just gave them pulled the parents together, and I've told the parents that have come in afterwards the same thing. This is a Girl Scout troop, but a Girl Scout family, so you are included too. And this is your chance to step away from everyday life and do something wonderful with your girls, and sometimes just with you and your daughter. And I said, so this is your chance to make a a wonderful experience out of it with her. So I try to make sure they're included, they're involved, they're informed, and then they kind of they want to be there and do different various, mother-daughter activities, family activities, different things to include them. That way they feel like they're vested in it other than just their daughter's vested in it. They want to help.
I found that a lot of my parents are enjoying it alongside of their child because it's memories. When are you going to have your child remember me as a leader or mom joining in with it if it's possible, and I have a lot of them that are like, my daughter remembers we went to the museum and she was only in kindergarten, but we got to sleep there and earn badges, and I was there for her, but she was also there with you. So it's the memory part that my parents enjoy the most because they are growing with their children, they're learning with their children. So that's part of the part that my parents enjoy the most about being part of the Girl Scouts themselves.
Do you think that the girls also are happier that their parents are involved?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Jenny, what were you gonna say?
One of the things that I have found very useful is at that parent meeting, letting parents know there may be times where I need XYZ from you. And you can be as big a contributor, or you can do small things. It doesn't really matter to me because every job is important in order to make this experience a great one for your kids. So I think setting that precedence early has been a really big help. And like you said, it involves them with their girls, even if they, even if their kids just see that in a child's mind integrates their parent into their Girl Scout family, and it kind of just brings forth that unity, and it's a much more enriching experience when they're involved.
If you have a parent that is overly involved or trying to do everything for their daughter instead of letting their daughter experience Girl Scouts at its fullest, what do you do in that kind of situation?
I only had that happen one time, and I just told her that, we need to let your daughter do this because this is her. It's not really you. Like, it's not really you selling all the cookies. You need to involve her too and let her make her own way and let her do the activities. And I just shared with her in a nice way that, we wanted it to be about her, and went over well. So it wasn't really an issue, but that's only the one time I've ever had to deal with it.
You can also redirect it. Just ask that parent, hey, I could use your help right now. Can you get the snacks ready for me, or can you help me pass out stuff? The whole point of being in Girl Scouts is to let these children grow and to be independent. And there are some parents that you have to redirect, as I call it, to help you, but also help that child to grow. And maybe they grow as well. You got to think they're so protective over their children, especially now with what's going on. You might need to have that extra, hey, let's step back, help me while you help your child in a different way.
I think that those are both excellent points. And that's something that we've kind of used as well as, I've only had one real issue. And it's not the worst problem in the world to have as a parent that wants to help too much, because you can redirect those behaviors and put it to use. I mean, I had one, and she did everything that I asked her to do. And by the end of the meeting, I had run out of things to ask her to do. And so I literally just told her, I said, well, think out, maybe we could do a swap. Do you mind sitting on Pinterest? You can connect to the Wi-Fi here and just look on Pinterest and see what kind of swaps you can come up with. Because I know that will take probably the whole hour meeting anyway. So, and it was really useful. She found some great things for us to do. She would find camping locations and pricing for me, and keeping her busy was the best way to help redirect some of that. But it's not always the worst problem in the world, but I think you're right. When it starts to interfere with the girls making progress, that's at the point where you kind of have to sit down and say, okay, you're hindering them a little bit. Let's see what they do on their own. That's what you're here for. So I think those are both excellent points as well.
All right, and I also want to mention that now when we do new leader trainings, which we didn't, it's changed every year over the years. We now give troop leaders a parent survey that they can choose to use or not to use with their troops at parent meetings at the beginning of the year. And in that parent survey, it asks things like, do you have experience or skills in certain areas? And I can actually share that with you. So this is what our parent interest survey looks like, and you can find it on our website. And it can be something as simple as, just checking on the side here, something that your parent has, that they have a skill in. If they have skills in astronomy or coding or childcare, first aid, hiking, music, if they know how to sew. And these are all things that can be worked into a badge. So don't be afraid to make that ask to your parents. You have a certain skill, how to code. Can you just run this one badge meeting for me? And that takes a little bit of the load off of the troop leader as well. And then you can also ask them, if it's intimidating to ask them for them to donate an hour or 2 hours of their time for a meeting, maybe just ask them if they can donate 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of their time. And they could essentially do the badge work in those 30 minutes, and the troop leader can do the before and after work. So do any of you have an example of a parent that had a special skill that you tied into a badge?
Yeah, I actually did that way back when, and did that same survey, and then I do that with about anybody I meet, actually.
Yes.
Not really a written survey, but a verbal survey, because your biggest asset is the skills that people have that they want to share with you. So like one of my moms was a pilot for a company, and she flew the corporate jet. So just because of that connection, my girls got to go down to the hangar, got to go through the corporate jet, sit in it, and see how things go. So any of your parents that have any skill, and every parent has something to offer, then you can use that to, help the girls. And plus the parents really enjoy sharing with that, and it really makes the girl happy to see their parent shine for a little bit. So that's a win-win all the way around.
Oh, yeah. I used a lot of the community too. The principal, the mayor, the fire department, the church reverend, the courthouse, hairdressers, you name it. A lot of people will give their time for free for them to just help you out to teach a badge. So don't be afraid to ask. I mean, a simple email, phone call. Use your friends, use your people in the community. They're always there to help.
And if you don't know,
A lot of times I have found that if I don't know a person, like who's a scientist or a hairdresser or whatever, if I don't know a person that I'm looking for in particular, a lot of times I can use my parents as a resource to say, I'm looking for someone who can deliver babies or does childcare or does whatever. And a lot of times, if I don't know a person that does that, my parents will know somebody that does. So, and I think that's just part of being a Girl Scout, is using your resources wisely. And those parents are one of your best resources, so that you don't feel overwhelmed in not being able to locate someone to come in, or being able to go get a certain thing, or even being able to afford troop wise. If there's something that we need that we simply can't afford, a lot of times I will have a parent that will come forth and say, oh, well, I'll split the cost with so-and-so, or they'll go around to parents and take a collection, or whatever I need, without me ever having to physically do it myself.
You took the words right out of my mouth. We don't have any questions online in the comments, but I do want to ask one last thing before we go. Was there ever a time when you needed parent involvement and you didn't have it? And how did you deal with that? Because, you know, you don't always get it from everybody, so.
I had a situation when it was my first year as a troop leader, and I had delegated things to where I thought that I had everything covered, but we ended up taking a trip, and then there was a group of people that didn't show up, and the adult that I was depending on happened to be in that group of people. So at that point, we didn't have enough adults. And we decided that it was not safe for us to continue. We were taking a hike. It was not safe for one adult to take 12 kids. And we weren't able to do that particular time, visit that at the next year's parent meeting. It was something that we had to touch base on, and about, if you commit to something, then you need to commit to it. And if you can't, then you need to make it right if you can. So being able to address that issue and just make it clear to those people that your commitment that you fell through on, it directly impacted all of your child's Girl Scout family. And they were not able to do these things because of your actions. And it was a lesson not only for the parent, but also the children and their families as well. So after that, I could see that other parents would help and step in more, because they knew that the activities that their children were so excited to do would be at risk sometimes if I didn't have that extra help.
I think that's a good point. I think if they realize that if your words are bond, and if you say you're going to do something, not only are you dependent on it as a leader, but all the Girl Scouts are dependent on it, and the families show up to bring their child there. So it involves more than one or two. It involves, a whole group and the whole family. So just I think making the parents feel valued, keeping them informed, making them feel like they're important and why they're important, and that the children are important, and just making everybody know that you're a family, you're to act like one, and that everybody's important, keeping everybody informed.
Everybody's counting on everybody to make everything happen.
Right.
I think it's one of those, it takes a village.
Yeah. I agree.
I also want to mention too that we do have a council level award for registered parents that are involved with troops. So there's ways that you can celebrate your parents and appreciate them, but you can also do it without the council award. You can do it on your own. You can print your own certificates, make your parents feel appreciated, get them little goodie bags or something. Or just tell them thank you. Tell them how much you appreciate them, because just telling someone those things can go a long way.
Right.
Do any of you ladies have anything you want to add before we end the meeting? All right. Well, thank you, ladies. I really appreciate all of your time and dedication to Girl Scouts, all of the years that you volunteered, and I appreciate your advice and your willingness to share your advice so that we can all each other learn and grow and make a better experience for girls everywhere. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And I hope everyone has a nice day. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comments and we will get to them as soon as we can. Thank you.